situations made a man of me. Not as expected, I'm exactly who I plan to be. I looked my mama in the eyes and told her we gon' make it. How could I go anyway but her? Now I'm sitting at your grave, reminiscing all the time that I wasted. I can't make it up.
What's good, everybody? Welcome to the l.u.v.podcast. You have your host here, Love Jones.
And it's your boy Drake.
And today, we got a very special guest. We got McKenzie Estep.
Hey everybody, thank you for having me. I appreciate it being here with you both.
Of course.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for real. It's a pleasure for you to come on here. And for everybody who may not know about you at home, why don't you just give an introduction?
Absolutely. So my name is McKenzie Estep. I'm 22 years old. I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio, but I grew up in Rocky Mount, North Carolina. I'm currently a senior political science scholar at Saint Augustine University, where I serve as the 71st, which is an ambassador, a queen, the face of the institution.
That's the face.
The face. The face.
Yeah, we gotta get into that. But before we do, tell our viewers a little bit about your upbringing.
Yeah. So as far as my upbringing, you mean like from the childhood phase?
Yeah. So, how was like your home life? Like, how was the support of like your parents and stuff?
Yeah, so the reason why I am in this position, I say I give it grace because I'm a first generational college student and a first generational high school graduate. So that led from coming from like a toxic household and coming from like a low socioeconomic household, one single parent household, like all those things kind of derived into putting me in the positions that I'm in today, making me a trailblazer and someone who wants to go after her dreams and ambitions, because I didn't see that. But growing up in Rocky Mount,
Absolutely.
We've seen a lot of people very spurred off the moment kind of come in and, who was one of those people who was basketball star from like G League and
G League, I know we had Mo Deloach on the podcast.
So like someone like that, who kind of went off of what his life story was and just made a big thing about it. And I just wanted to do the same thing. So low income, housing led me to low GPA. That low GPA led me to only getting into one institution, which was Saint Augustine, which is a private HBCU. Not very funded, but definitely can lead a student into the real world on a great path. So I chose that institution, and it put me where I'm at right now.
That's huge, because like I've been to Saint Aug, I had a chance, because I was in Rocky Mount. I was in this program called Upward Bound.
Trio.
Yeah, Trio.
I'm a Trio too, yeah.
So we would, on the summer program, we would stay at Saint Aug, so I had to feel the campus,
we probably was there at one time together.
We probably was.
May have been.
Yeah, we probably was. But that was the first college I had experience with. I never set foot on another campus before. That's a lie, because my brother was in college. But that's the first college I ever stayed overnight.
Same.
Yeah.
First college I ever visited.
Okay. So going into Saint Augustine, did you have a plan to become Miss Saint Augustine, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not gonna lie to you. Yeah, I had it planned out 4 years in advance, actually.
Oh wow.
Yeah, coming from high school, I went to Northern Nash in Rocky Mount, and it was a predominantly white high school. I wasn't really exposed to a lot that I was used to, and being able to graduate, go into college off of 1 point by GPA, I didn't want to let that go to waste. It was all right, babe. They only accept 2.0s and up, and I made it in here with a 2.1. So I'm not gonna let that opportunity go to deflate. So I immediately was all right, I want to run for freshman class president. I want to do this. I want to be Miss SAU. I want to get all I can, because when I was in high school, that low GPA, I couldn't do anything. I couldn't run for anything. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't even be homecoming queen if I wanted to. I couldn't do the same things. I didn't know my potential. So when I got into college, I made sure to tap into that potential.
Okay, that's amazing, for real. And what was your major?
Political science.
Oh, political science. Okay.
Absolutely.
What made you want to choose political science as your major?
I think coming from that low socioeconomic household, seeing the system, affect people from not having GEDs, and just seeing how crime and education and jobs and all these things play a role in our communities. I really wanted to be able to focus on that, and being that education, higher education, was my big implement to push me out into the real world to be a better person, I thought, okay, look, like, what can I do to do that? And the only thing I can do is do good politics. You know, it's the best version of being able to really get in your community in the best way possible. And the way I want to do that is go to law school. I want to be a lawyer for the United States Air Force.
Okay.
That's going to build me up. So by the time I'm ready to run for anything political, whether that's Senate office or congressional office, I'll be able to have something under my belt, experience, and then a backstory, you know, to tell my people. So yeah, I really want to do politics. The person that inspired me was Rocky Mount City Councilman Andre Knight. Okay. He definitely inspired me as well. So that's a little bit about why I chose to be a political science scholar.
That's outstanding, honestly, because like I haven't met too many people who like wanted to even go into politics, and you know, seeing everything that you have accomplished so far, I know you'll be a great politician. And I know from being from Rocky Mount is already like a great backstory.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? But
you make it out of there.
So
man.
much growth in
you
the
got
community.
a story.
Yes.
So, with you being Miss Saint Aug, and also having like to keep your GPA up and stuff, like how hard was it or easy at this point? Because you said like you made a flip, so like did it become easier for you to balance like your professional life and your school life?
You know, I think coming from so back in high school, I never made good grades. It wasn't until my senior year when I was almost like Trio came in and was like, we want to turn you around and push you into college, that I actually was like, all right, bet. So this is what making good grades feel like, you know, making A's and B's, the hard work that goes into it. Going into college, I wanted to add so much to my plate, not realizing what time management was. You know, going into COVID, not knowing what financial advisement was, you know, going into what credit was and how it affects your GPA when you got to manage the both of the two, you know, and they're both imperative. So I think, you know, knowing how to keep my GPA up was one of the things that I learned as I went. But I definitely have faced situations where I've been affected tremendously, like especially with going virtual. You know, I wasn't prepared for the virtual education lifestyle, and working off campus for like a whole year and a half. And when COVID hit in March 20, it was like I had 4 jobs, work study was included. I'm driving back and forth campus to home, going for my jobs, and homework was hard. You know, like just trying to, and then also being in those organizations that I signed myself up for ahead of time. So it was a lot of management, but it's definitely pushing through, which is one of the reasons why I realized I had to be vulnerable enough to say, okay, am I going to graduate with this GPA, or do I want to do better? So that's why I'm staying in an extra year, and I want to make sure I push myself, you know, fix up that transcript, that student portfolio, so that when I go off onto the next stage, everything I've learned these past 4 years is going to put me in the right alignment for law school.
Absolutely. And the field that you're going in, you're gonna need that track record of consistency, because that's all good grades is. It's like they need to know, are you consistent with your work ethic?
Absolutely.
So I commend you on figuring that out, because that's a big thing that people don't figure out. Because even me, in my first year of college at ECU, like I had, I think like a 1.7. And like by the end of it, I brought it up to a 3.2, 3.4.
That's great
like,
right
so,
there. We're talking about all A's, maybe 1 B, barely even a B. You can't even take a B.
But that first year really teaches you like time management, and I think that's one of the biggest things that we didn't get, especially coming like from the school system we was in. Because even me going to Central, nobody taught us time management. It was just like, you got to go to college. Nobody taught us what that lifestyle really was to prepare us, so when we got there, we wouldn't fail like we did.
Exactly.
Yes. Even at my time, like Drake said, I went to Nash Central, but I had moved to Raleigh, so I went to Garner for a year and a half, and like just that transition, like just being in a different environment, kind of like, I ain't gonna say it helped me, but like when I had transition, it motivated me, because like I was at, I think I graduated maybe with like 2.7. And so only 2 schools accepted me. And it was, I forgot the other school, but I went to North Carolina Central. And like, it was a shock, because you know, you have to balance all these things, and you know, I had a clothing line, and I was trying to do everything outside of grades, like I was doing everything that I was interested in, but it was kind of hard to balance that. So.
Yeah, but one thing I can definitely give my grace to is going to an HBCU. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're in an environment that you got aunties that's not really your aunts. You got father figures, you got people who are like brothers and sisters that's gonna hold you accountable. And these type of organizations like Trio and Man Up programs and stuff like that definitely cultivate you and matriculate you throughout your years. And I think if it wasn't for going to an HBCU, if I went to any other community college or PWI, it can work for someone else. But it would have not worked for me. I needed to go somewhere that felt like home. It was close, it wasn't too far away. And Saint Aug was that, you know, and I didn't want to go to Central. I wanted to go to Central, I wanted to go to Faith State, I wanted to go to Elizabeth City, I wanted to go wherever was an HBCU, and I had no idea what Saint Aug was until I got into Trio. And got to step foot on a college university campus. Yeah.
And Saint Aug is like, it's a special family because like if you not really there on campus, you don't understand what the like camaraderie is about when you're there. Like I've been there during basketball games, I've been there during football games, and the type of family and connection that the community has on campus is like I haven't seen it before, because I've even been to like Central, I've been to like A&T, but it feels almost like family. Like literally everybody know each other on the block.
Because it's such a small school, like everybody know everybody's name. And they know where you want to go, and even if you're not in their area at that moment and they find an opportunity where you can network, they'll speak up your name, you know, let me call it, you're right there, you're not too far, you know. So that's one of the things I love about Saint Aug, man. I gotta give my grace too.
Shout out to Saint Aug.
Shout out to the HBCUs, man.
I wish I would have went to an HBCU. Like even being at a PWI, I just didn't feel like home. Like I was close to home, it was only an hour away, but it didn't feel
so
like.
So for homecoming, did you still like tap into the activities, like the?
I did because we had a community for us at ECU. So like if you knew, then you knew where to go, where to parlay. But it wasn't like broadcasted. It's like we weren't like a huge group. We were literally like everybody knew each other. So that's how small the Black community was.
You just had to stay connected.
So if we didn't stick together, then we really didn't feel like nobody like had our back while we were there.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, my experience at Central is crazy because I wanted to go to, you know, I didn't have a dream school. Like I wasn't that familiar with HBCUs, of course, and just I think I wanted to go to UNC. That's the only school I wanted to go to. Yeah. But I didn't get accepted. So.
I had a PWI my little 2.1 GPA.
Yeah, my 2.7.
I wanted to go to state.
No.
I wanted to go to state.
I wanted to go to state.
I wanted to go to state.
I needed that computer science degree, man.
Right, I wanted to go for the Air Force program. Yeah, like.
But like Central, like just stepping foot on campus, like it helped me become the person I am today.
Yeah,
honestly,
man.
Like the family environment that you was talking about, like that was present.
And you know what makes that family environment so strong? You know, at an HBCU, one thing we all come from is struggle. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody has a story of struggle, and I think that nobody can reflect on something to bring you together more so on a close-knit bond, like family-wise, than struggle. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's one of the things that HBCUs step in. They help you in struggle. You can lean on them in the time of struggle. You know what I'm saying? They figure out how to support their community in the time of struggle. And one thing they do not forget is family. You know what I'm saying? So that is definitely, and PWI, it's like you're on your own, buddy. So it's like
and that's exactly what
it's like you got like even in the time of struggle at the HBCU, like they make you stronger. You know, you learn from it. They always say if you get through this, you can get through anything.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
for sure. For real.
And so like, walk us through like your freshman year. How you know, you was talking about the struggle with high school, keeping your grades up. So freshman year, was you trying to become Miss Saint Augustine your freshman year?
No, actually, it was impossible. The thing was, I was trying to become freshman class president. So I came in and I actually spent a lot of time on the campus beforehand. So we didn't start school until August, but I was there June, July for open houses. And
Gotcha.
I remember I came back for a second open house on purpose just to volunteer. Because I had been to campus years prior to with Trio, giving tours and helping out. So I was like, let me just... So while I was there the entire summer before school even started, I was able to see what those organizations look like. And I was talking to a lot of upperclassmen who were dropping gems on me, you know, and they always would put that label of Miss SAU material on me, like you could be the Miss, you know what I'm saying? So, because I was so in love with the institution. It's just like,
that's what's up.
you know, it's like being a foster kid, not having a home to go to, not having a family, and then somebody's like, here, come here, you know, we want you. Nobody else gave me an opportunity for school, and that school gave me that opportunity. So I was like, I'm gonna just love it, you know, and I'm gonna just rock it. I mean, I'm all over the place, SAU this, SAU that, and just so many opportunities kept coming towards me where they wanted to hear my story.
Right.
And that just made me recognize how serious it is to take these opportunities and really make something out of it. So that's what led me to Miss SAU. I didn't give up. We were in the time of COVID. I almost had my struggle where I was like, I don't even know if I can still run for Miss SAU. You know, the candidate that was running against me, she was a great running mate. She would have been a wonderful Miss SAU at the same time. So I was like, do I still have it in me to do that? After 3 years of being on a high, coming in at a 4.0 GPA, because you know when you go in to a school, they wipe you out completely. It's like a fresh start.
Yeah,
so that 4.0, I was doing great. You know, I had my 15 credit hours, regular standard. I was freshman class president. So at the same time, I'm just rolling through it. So after 2 years come in and COVID hits, it's like I started to deflate. And then I'm reflecting like, okay, what am I doing wrong? You know, and it felt like, okay, McKenzie, you're back where you started in high school. You're back at that low GPA. You're back at the struggle moments. You're back where there's nobody behind you holding you up. You're back where you have to hold yourself accountable. What do you want to do? Do you still have the same goals and ambitions? And I stuck my neck out there. I ran for Miss SAU. I gave it all I had. And I think that same found love that I came into SAU with is what brought me through to being elected. And yeah, man, I think that that's all it came with, you know, being that freshman year. It was just sticking with what I had, recognizing I had a fresh start and making the most out of it.
Yeah,
got you. That's amazing. I want to congratulate you on that.
Thank you. Thank you.
That COVID, when that hit, like, it just zapped everything out of me, honestly.
It definitely alienated a lot of us.
If you didn't know how to transition or to, like, you know, like just
work off struggle, paycheck to paycheck, being in your house a lot.
Or either like even creating, because a lot of people created businesses around that time.
Oh yeah.
So it's like if you just had to think ahead of the curve, or when it did hit, you just had to be able to think on your feet, and if you couldn't, you drowned. Honestly. So to anybody who made it out of the COVID joint, like I give you flowers, man. I gotta give you flowers.
I remember like we had an extended spring break, like we had another week, and they were transitioning to all online. I remember my first class, I knew I was like, I'm probably done with school. It just
the semester felt like it ended early for you.
Yeah, it ended.
You just mentally checked out. Yeah.
Absolutely.
But
they caught us off guard at SAU. You know, we were a private institution, so we didn't have to do with everything that other schools did. But they made their own found opportunity or choice to say, you know, we had at least a week to get off campus.
Okay.
I had just got a job. I was working at Food Lion. And then that turned into a whole frontline worker position. So I'm like in there for hours on a day. And I'm starting these classes. It's only 3 months into the year. The second semester's just gotten started. And legitimately, we're in the middle of campaign season for my junior year. So I'm running for junior class president. And I'm finding a place to stay. I'm figuring out how to save my money. I'm figuring out, you know, what is credit? Okay, they need to check my credit, you know. What are pay stubs? They need a pay stub. So I'm starting to recognize, you know, all this stuff that people were like, ready for the real world? It's starting to click. And I'm happy, you know, God provided, because if he didn't, I don't know where I would have been. You know, I didn't have a home to go home to, but at the same time, I had to make do with what I had, and it worked out. I ended up finding a place to stay, and I had to sign, like, I just was living above my means. Let's just say that. Like, I was definitely living above my means, and it was difficult. But when I tell you those 2 years of living above my means and living paycheck to paycheck, like, it made me want to go harder. So, like, being Miss SAU now, like, setting myself up for law school, I know what it takes So struggle's not a scare anymore.
Right.
You know, struggle isn't a scare. Going where I want to go and knowing how to get there from those past experiences is going to be a breeze to say. I'm blessed from every struggle that we all made it through, because we definitely learned how to change it around and make it a coming out story, you know.
So that's a power of perseverance that you have for real.
Perseverance, that's the word.
You didn't give up, and you went even harder. Like when your back was against the wall, you was faced with adversity. You went harder. So you didn't have to work that job at Food Line, but you did, and you put in a lot of hours during that time. And I know people was flooding the grocery stores. Like toilet paper was out, paper towels.
Every day you come in, it's a new rule. You can only buy 2 weeks, you know, and you're seeing a crushed community of families come in, you know, and they're looking for what they can find to stay safe and to stay, you know, just stay alive and stay well and stay healthy, and you just want to give them all you can. And you know, one thing Food Line definitely was, and this is one of the things that I ran off of from SSAU, was CIAA is a proud sponsor of Food Line. We're a CIAA school. So being that I was at Food Line also put me in the mind frame is, if I could run from SSAU, this story right here, working as an essential employee in the time of COVID for a company such as this, definitely makes me a proud candidate for this SAU, you know. So
for sure.
That was one of the things I realized working there is what community became for me, even bigger outside of college.
But it gave you a story. Like to be honest, without your story, you might not be where you are now.
That's a fact.
So you really had to, more so than a struggle, it's just like you had checkpoints in your life that you had to get to and when you get here. So it's like, yeah, man, you gotta go through it. Some of it just be an obstacle more so than something that's actually gonna stop you.
That's a fact.
Yeah, and I definitely want to congratulate you on all your accomplishments.
Thank you.
Sure.
You have a whole resume of accomplishments. You know, you don't have a typical I just graduated from college story. Even though you're still in school, you don't have a typical student story. Like you know, you impacted so many people that you don't even know, and I definitely got to give you your flowers for that.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it.
No doubt.
Thank you.
For sure.
And so, you know, the pivot away from COVID and all the downsides, what were some memorable moments that you had?
I just have to say, like, one of them definitely was coming out as a Persian rifle. Like, I just crossed into a fraternity last spring, about to come up into 1 year. At the same time I'm running from this SAU, like, I was able to cross the burning sands into Persian Rifleman, and like, that's a military fraternity. It's one of the oldest collegiate organizations dedicated to military drill, and I want to go into the military. So I didn't know, you know, okay, I'm not an ROTC, or maybe I may not know what I want to do after graduation, but this organization found me, picked me up, put me on their back, and was like, come on, like, you know, we're gonna make you great. We're gonna make you better. You know, we found you at a good stance, we'll make you better. And I was able to join an organization that bring me, you know, brothers and sisters, and I think that was one of the most favorite opportunities I could have ever gotten, you know, definitely. And then we're not gonna miss out on all the homecomings and the coordinations and everything that came in, like, but I don't know, man, like, crossing and becoming a PR is one of the things I wanted to definitely join an organization that was filled of like-minded individuals, and I think I made a good choice, and I'm proud of that for myself. Yeah, for real. That was one of the best moments for me.
For sure. Hats off to you.
Yeah, that was good.
And so I know recently you was on the Nick Cannon show.
Yes.
Yeah. So how did that come about?
Oh, okay. So over the summer last year, our school decided to use CARES Act funds to pay off student balances from spring, summer, and fall. So if you had a leftover balance, they covered it. You know, and at the time I was a summer school student, so I had a balance trying to get classes because I was, you know, of course, taking out loans. I had accumulated over $34,000 in student loans, and I still was going to continue to accumulate. And it wasn't until that story was released on the news, you know, with the president and I getting interviewed by ABC or Fox 50, that some small company of agencies was like, look, we're looking for people that have a story. We ran across your news, you know, interview, and we wanted to know more. You know, you gave us a sprinkle, we want to know more. Right. You know, the same stories I tell since I was a freshman about what I've gone through and COVID and how it's affected me. They wanted to know more so about how much loans I've accumulated, how how has that affected my household?
Mm-hmm.
And what are my plans upon graduation to want to deflate that? And that would have just been going into the military, taking my time. Salary may come knocking, I'm gonna just have to pay per month, like everybody else does, and graciously enough, they were like, we want to select you to come to New York. So they gave us, car service. Mm-hmm. They paid for the flights. That was my first time taking a flight.
Okay.
I went to New York. We actually recorded in the 106 and Park studio.
Oh, that's crazy.
And it was Nick Cannon's second day on air, where he brought all 7 of us HBCU students from FAMU, Texas Southern, Winston-Salem State University, and Clark Atlanta.
Okay.
Onto an A&T onto the stage to announce that he had wiped out our student loans. And I was actually, I'm not gonna lie, I was on stage and I think I was going through the rush of just being on camera and being on national television that I wasn't really paying attention, but I was paying attention.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting right next to Nick Cannon. I'm like, I'm on the screen, and when I got on stage, I asked him, I'm like, Nick, what camera do I look at? Like, there's like 13 of these cameras. So he was like, no, you good, just find one and just be personal with it. So we got through that. He announced that he was wiping away student loans. I don't know why, but I thought he said he was wiping away my student loan, not my loans, but my student account for this year. Because I owed like $25,000-$30,000 still. And I just thought, that's what they're wiping out. It wasn't until we got off stage and went to the back that a student was like, oh, I'm so excited, my loans are about to be gone. I'm like, what are you talking about? What do you mean? And they interviewed us again, and they were like,
she was like, you didn't just hear what he said.
Yeah, she was like, you didn't just hear what he said? Like, we good, like, we have no loans. I'm like, yo, are you tripping right now? Yeah. I started crying for real.
Yeah, for real.
And then it clicked, like, I have no loans, and
that's amazing.
It's been a process of still letting that settle in, because that doesn't happen to anybody. I mean, we are still in a political action of our president wiping away student loans. Student loan debt is so important. It hinders a lot of people. You want people to go off into the world and go get an education, and then they take on all this debt. Those who are gracious enough, they get scholarships, but people still have to fight through financial aid. Some people's parents don't make enough, and they have to take on those Parent Plus loans, and that just accumulates and accumulates and accumulates. And
Absolutely.
You can sign yourself up for the brightest future to work for a Fortune 500 CEO company, but then what are you gonna do with those loans? That your life is still on pause. And now I have realigned my goals and my vision. I was like, I'm not gonna let my life change my goals, because it's my goals that are gonna change my life. So if I still wanna go out and be a congresswoman, I'm gonna do that. I'm not gonna let the fact that I have student loans, or if I don't have student loans, change that. That was the goal from the get-go. I'm gonna stick with it.
Yeah.
I just don't have no loans now, and that's a blessing, because I probably would have ended up with about $60,000. Especially adding on another year, I would have definitely ended up with another $60,000.
Wow, and you wiped them all away.
That's
man.
Thankful enough to United Negro College Fund and Thurgood College Fund scholarship advances. They definitely did their thing with keeping us on track and wiping out those student loans.
Man,
that's hard.
Shout out to Nick.
Yeah, shout out to Nick Cannon. And he did it because I think at that month, it was September, October, and I think that's when they were HBCU highlighting a lot of historically black colleges and universities, and himself, he had just graduated from Howard. So Nick didn't really finish college. He didn't get the opportunity. His mother seen a light in him at a young age, put him into the world of, building himself up and an entertainer, and he wanted to go back to school, and he became a Howard alum, HBCU graduate.
Cool, bro.
So he wanted to give back, and that is something that we are all still proud of. Like the students and I stick together, like we call ourselves the Sensational Seven. we stick together. So.
That's hard.
Yeah.
I want to drop a mixtape.
Look, for real. I wish I had my Apple Watch, but yeah, moving forward though, what kind of, I wanted to know a little bit about you guys. So you said you went to Central, right? And you went to ECU. So what were your majors?
So I'm a graphic designer, so mine was advertising and marketing.
Yeah.
Oh, and
I was computer science at first, but I had to change my major because I had a slump in my grades. Like, I didn't like mass communications because I'm a laid back person, like super laid back.
Very laid back.
Like, yeah, real deal laid back. And And so I didn't really feel mass comm, but like everybody who knows me says I have like, if I wanted to put myself out there, I have a great personality and things of that nature.
For sure.
And I'm more outgoing than I say. But even my advisor, she told me that you would be great in mass comm. You have the voice, the personality, all of that for mass comm.
Authenticity, you're regal. And even if you're not like jumped up, like ready to get into it, it's always those laid back individuals that know just what to say, you know what I'm saying? Because you're in your thoughts with it. And I commend y'all, especially you saying that your major, you had to change it, that's a major decision. You know what I'm saying? And that's one of the things, like I had held a program on that, and I had times didn't know if I wanted to stay in political science because we were facing so much with presidency, and inaugurations and people during the time of political activities that were happening in the media that I was paying attention to. I was like, is this what I want to do? Do I want to really still go to Congress and play this field, these people? And it's a hard bullet to swallow, but I decided to just stick with the major that I have,
What type of like advice would you give somebody that's going into college? Like now that you're like here, what would you want to tell somebody and like make sure that they know before they even get here?
I say, separate yourself from anything that can distract you, whether that is family, whether that's a critical job or a hard position. Try to really put yourself in the line of people, in a village of people that want to see you succeed. I don't care if that's one person.
Right.
Separate yourself and stay focused with that one person.
Absolutely.
Really figure out where it is you want to go in life. And when you figure that out, stick with that. You know what I'm saying? And really highlight how that's going to affect you years from now. Because I put myself in a position my freshman year of college, really my senior year of high school, that I wanted to be a political science major. That was going to lead me into the military. The military would lead me into Congress. Congress would lead me into becoming a billionaire or a millionaire, where I can then, return investments into my communities and charities and my own organizations. And it's just, you really want to get to success and then flip it and put success on other people. And I think that if you do that, if that's your plan, nothing can go wrong. Nothing can go wrong, and every lesson can turn into a blessing. So really just align yourself with the right people. Figure out how you want to go to college. Put yourself in the right organizations and around the right people. Trios, always a great thing if you're in high school to get advantage of. Look it up, TRIO, an upper bound, talent search, math and science, it doesn't matter. And literally let people pour into you, because to whom much is given, much is always required. And that is something I always state, and I've learned that since my freshman year of high school, is because when somebody gave me the opportunity to step foot on the campus, they just literally cracked the door for me. Like I was like knocking with my little 2.1, like please give me the opportunity, like please. Like I know I don't got the grades, I know I don't got the SAT scores, I don't have the ACT scores, but I have the ambition. So like just give me that opportunity. Be regal, realize your story, understand your struggle, and let that define you, but don't let a certain score or a GPA define who you are. You are the author of your book. Right. So just being able to allow that book to be washed over when you go into college, write your story how you want to write it. And nobody can take that away from you. It's you being a powerful person in your life. Yeah. And that's one of the things I just had to realize, only child, single parent household, alone a lot, going into college, full of people, still secluding myself, but at the same time putting myself out there.
Right.
You can do that. You can definitely do that. You just got to really be able to mentally stabilize yourself, and in a time where mental health is a big thing, that's another thing I would definitely advocate, is really tapping in with your mental health, taking care of yourself, because nobody else is going to do that for you but you.
Absolutely.
So that's a little bit of advice I would say.
If someone was trying to let's say me miss SAU, what type of advice would you give them to try to follow in your steps?
So we actually just elected our new queen. She's actually taking on an opportunity right now as we speak, where she'll be speaking to high school students who are coming to our school. And one of the things I always told her was, keep your head up, never tip your crown. Always realize, yes, you may have big shoes to fill because there were people behind you that did the same thing, but know that your story, in the way you're about to impact this outstanding position, is yours only. So when she goes onto those pageants and when you sign up for that opportunity to be a queen of a university, really just let it come into your life and redefine who you are in a way of making you a better queen. You were already a queen before you came. Now you're just heightened it and enhanced it. So there's really nothing you're missing. It's just really being able to tap in with who you are. And I think that's important. That's why I ran on the platform of Hall of Fame, helping all leave a legacy of fame, was because you're really about to highlight who you are. You're putting yourself on that wall of fame. I am who I am, and I'm standing beside it. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So that type of instance with the crown on your head, it's the same thing. How are you going to empower your community through who you are? So knowing who you are is top priority.
Yeah, I would say the same thing, honestly. Like, you know, even with like, as far as like somebody I know going to college, like I give them the same rundown because like the school and your grades don't make who you are.
That's a fact.
Yeah, you make who you are, and you on campus, you have a chance to network with people that you never might not meet again. Like, you know,
For real though.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
Like, you're on campus, you have, no matter what school you're at, if you're on campus, you need to go out and meet different people. You need to go out and share your story, and you need to go out and network with as many people as you can, because like that's what I did, and ultimately I still have those same connections now. And so I commend you for that.
Thank you.
And alluding to what you were saying about mental health, what are some ways you boost your self-love?
The way I boost my self-love is definitely taking time to myself throughout the week or whenever I can find time to just downsize. Listening to music is a big thing. What I listen to matters. I don't just listen to anything.
Absolutely.
I listen to people like, you know, podcasts like this. I listen to Eric Thomas. I listen to Coach Payne. I listen to a woman, I forgot her name, but she's a wonderful mantra speaker. She just continues to speak these things into light and perspective about, you know, who you are as a person, and like tapping into your third eye, like all that spiritual stuff at the same time. Like I meditate, you know, I make sure I get my rest. What I eat matters, drinking water, staying healthy, doing that self-love care day, you know, women like to do, where they just take care of their nails, their hair, their skin. Those things are always great for me, definitely, especially my sleep. Sleep is probably the best thing I can do. Just you know, energize myself.
Not having an A+ in sleep.
Look, look, I'm telling you, like that's one of the main things. I would definitely wake up and I'll go right back to sleep if I know I'm feeling tired, because I gotta take care of me.
I understand that, man.
Sometimes
you gotta put yourself first.
Yeah, right. When we get a chance to like, you know what I'm saying, going throughout the day, sometimes like we might be busy the whole day, we don't get a chance to just stop and just let our minds just relax. So that's what's up. And so now currently you are the in-game host at Firebird.
Yes.
So
that's hard.
It's hard. Like,
I've been in one of the games. They some tough games. Yes.
They play strong, man. They play strong. I just got back from a family vacation, but I missed like 2 games, and they've been playing away. Raleigh Firebirds definitely is a great representation from all of the triangle, you know, all of North Carolina. Definitely for North Carolina. The league, the basketball league, is literally right up underneath the G League. So we're looking at men come from high school to college, play their hearts out, and still have dreams and ambitions to continue to play. And they form a brotherhood on these courts. And the communities of these young boys from high school and college, and elementary and middle school are looking at them with big wide eyes, and I'm just there to help connect them, you know, and get that family unit, you know, bring that HBCU love to the game, you know, and I mean, it's been a wonderful opportunity working with Mr. Wade Harris and the assistant manager and the entire team and the cast. I interview the coaches. I host games for the students to kind of tap into, you know, have a good time. But this is my first time ever hosting basketball. Like,
how is that?
I don't know basketball. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I love football, and I don't really know basketball. I never played basketball. I used to be the manager back in high school, but I never played basketball. So when he asked me to do this, I was like, all right. So I'm doing my research on basketball, and so yeah, I mean, it's cool. It's just when you don't know, I put myself in an uncomfortable position to learn. So it's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
Yeah.
It definitely allows you to grow because now the type of skills that you're going to get with hosting a live event all the time is going to be the things that you're going to need in order to be a congresswoman.
Exactly.
So, like, there you go.
And so, having that personality, that's going to help you with anything.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So that's dope. And so, like, have you had any internships while you was in school?
Yeah, I've actually had 3, maybe even 4. I'm working on another one right now for the summer with Trio. Trio has a congressional internship opportunity this summer in Washington, D.C. I want to take advantage of.
Wow.
That's dope.
But the ones that I've done have been the North Carolina General Assembly is something I've done on the Senate side, working with Senator Don Davis, 5th and 6th District at the time. We worked on a lot of redistricting opportunities. We worked on, this was, I think at the time we were going through, what was it? We were going through a housing preservation. So I've done a lot of research. I interned for a Fortune 500 company called Lenovo. They're a computer company, IBM and programs.
Gotcha.
Lenovo in Morrisville and Raleigh. I definitely worked with them. That was uncomfortable because mind you, I'm a political science major.
Yeah.
I don't have anything at all in the world, in my bone, like not a bone in my body that has a love for computers. Okay? But I did bring to them the best and authentic skills that I knew I had, and I was willing to build on my researching, and I was willing to build on being able to talk about computers and gaming and education and how it all comes together. And I just found ways to fit, and really just give them my best within their projects. And lastly, I just finished working with Congresswoman Deborah Ross.
Oh, okay.
She is our 2nd district congressional rep, and she would always fly in from DC or have to go do things. But I worked with the office itself. I worked with the outreach people. I worked with the caseworkers. I worked with our constituents.
Okay.
I would take phone calls and organize and schedule meetings, and it sounds pretty boring, but it was great stuff. I feel like I was really making an impact on the community. Every time I pick up the phone and somebody was distraught or needed a passport or somebody was having an issue with their green card, like situations that real people go through, I'm able to literally be that middleman and help them with that situation and meet these deadlines to get their quotas met, and it felt good. Yeah. So that's some of the stuff I wouldn't mind doing. Going into law school is like a part-time job, so those internships definitely put me in the right positions to get that experience.
It definitely gets your hands dirty because you're gonna need your hands dirty anyway to be able to connect with the people who you're gonna try to represent.
Right.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And that's true. And she herself is a graduate from Duke Law.
Okay.
So being in those same footsteps, like in Senator Don Davis, he went to law school, he went to the Air Force. So these internships not only get your hands dirty, but you get to shake hands with people who have, figured it out in life, so that you can actually figure it out too and ask them the same questions, so they line you up for the right door to walk through. So
absolutely, that's dope. Especially you meet people who've done it and they can teach you the ropes. Absolutely.
Prominent people at that, you're looking up, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So many people, you're on TV every night. What do you do? How do you manage it? So.
Yeah, that's dope. And I want to segue into my favorite part of the podcast, and that's the Fast 5.
Okay.
And so
1 minute.
Yeah, Fast 5. For everybody at home, she has 1 minute to answer all 5 questions, and you already know it's gonna be rapid fire. It's gonna be some deep questions, and we're definitely gonna get into it. If you could hold on to one memory from your life forever, what would it be?
Being able to graduate from high school with my mother seeing that.
What has inspired you the most?
I would have to say my mother's inspired me. Being that she came from nothing, she put herself in a good position to still have a daughter and still fight through. She only makes $8 an hour and she's still supporting me. Wow. So the way I can change her life is by being great and being a proud, productive person in life.
Sure. And what do you want to be remembered as?
I want to be remembered as someone who is relatable, someone who has fought through struggle and still goes after what she wants.
Okay. And what are your top 5 albums?
My top 5 albums would have to be anything by J. Cole. I would have to say, Jesus, I can't even think of the name. Y'all got me on this little minute. J. Cole, I love Drake. I'm gonna just tell you my top 5 people that just dropped albums. Key Glock.
Okay.
Lucky Day, and I'm gonna have to say, it's a good one.
Oh man.
That last one would probably have to be. I don't know, who's your favorite artist?
My favorite artist currently is Future.
Future.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people that like Future. I think I know what you. I think I know where you're sitting at. What about you?
I'm a Frank Ocean fan.
Okay, Frank Ocean. See, these people, I'm a Tyler creator, like I literally like every type of music genre. You know, I'm not even picky. But yeah, definitely a big J. Cole, Drake. I always like Joey Badass.
For sure, yeah.
Okay.
You know.
You mentioned that Lucky Day album,
Yeah,
I was listening to a podcast with him talking about his Candy and the NWA, and I was just like, yo, like I'm listening to how he talks on the podcast. Let me just transfer those skills and just try to learn.
That's how you gotta do it, man.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
And the last question is, what is one question you wish we'd asked you, and how would you answer it?
One of the questions I wish you would have asked me is, okay, I'm gonna say if you was able to ask me a question, is basically when I graduate, what type of impact did I leave on my campus? You know, and you said what do I want to be remembered by, so that was kind of the same thing. But the way I would answer that question is how I would have impacted my campus is by making sure that we elevated the student experience, because we're a small school. I really want to make sure that those same students that came in with that same story as me, with that 2.1 GPA or that low GPA, or transferring in from another school because they can't configure it through the large campus structure and they want to go somewhere small, is to legitimately realize, okay, I've been able to see McKenzie go through what she's done. She's been very open and loving and kind, and as a big sister to me, you know, I want to actually run for positions. I hope that I inspire people, you know, to get involved, because me getting involved put me in the positions that I'm in right now. You know, being able to share these same type of stories is, I just really want to impact the students in a micro level. Like, I really just want to make sure that they understand, you know, getting involved, even though I have a story, even though I come from nothing, it seems like I can be something. I can step on a path of success, and my destination can be anywhere.
Absolutely.
Because it doesn't really matter. I'm not gonna say it doesn't matter like what your GPA is, but like when it comes like systematically, school-wise, coming out of high school, long as you can kind of flip that switch and be like, I'm still like yourself, ambitious enough to take on my dreams. Like, I still want to complete college, and in completing college, meaning I have to have good grades, then go for it. Like, I tell anybody to go for it. Like, I don't care what you went through in high school. Go for it, because there's no telling what might happen. You can change. Like, you know what I'm saying?
You can flip the whole story.
You can flip the switch.
Nah, for real.
And the thing is just like, you just gotta have that mentality. You gotta be able to really have that discernment. Like, yes, you can't change overnight, but it is possible. You can literally go to sleep, roll over, wake up, and be like, you know what?
I'll be a different person today.
Exactly. Yeah. You know, what does that take? I'm gonna write on my whiteboard. This is what I want to do. This is my to-do list. You know, you can just start small, build bigger steps, and move swiftly. You can literally make a whole change and impact in less than a couple months.
Absolutely. It starts with yourself. It starts with
internally. Absolutely.
For real. And so like, what's your next steps?
So, being that I accepted that I won't be graduating this semester, my next steps are summer school, internship. I told myself this year I didn't want to take any student role. I didn't want to be in any type of student leadership this year. I just wanted to focus on law school because I'm seeing myself, I'm giving that same medicine. I gotta practice what I preach. I gotta find resources to help build me ready for law school. I've yet to even get started, you know, and that's one of my biggest flaws, is that I can set myself up for the table, but I'm not ready to eat. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can set the table up, but I'm scared to take that bite. I'm scared to pick up that spoon and just like get to work. Because I want the table and the food to be perfect, you know, but I have to break out of that perfectionist, you know, and think like, just dive in, get the ball rolling. So I'm starting small. This year I'm gonna focus on just law school and really continue to live my life. I wanna travel more. I wanna enjoy life. I've been working hard for 4 years, and I know that my life is gonna be, you know, one for the books for me, because I've done so much hard work. Going into law school, that's gonna be another 4 years of
hard work.
So right now, if I could just enjoy undergrad, homecoming, being a PR, you know, being an HBCU queen, I just want to enjoy the life inside of undergrad and really prepare for law school. I'm gonna have to just really focus on that. So those are my steps. You know, it's just consistently staying tapped in with my education and just enjoying life on the same side. That's the plan.
Which, as much as you have planned, There's no need to rush it because it's still gonna be here. So you got
exactly delayed, not denied.
Yeah.
And just let it come to you. And I think God really figured this out on purpose. Because if I was to have rushed and graduated with the GPA that I have, or even with the goals that I have, I would have still had to take at least like a year off to build and be ready for law school.
Right.
So I figured, why not stay inside of a school that can give me those resources and put myself out in the real world. Because once you graduate from college, they look at you like you're just a regular person. You know what I'm saying? But you're still in school.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, so you're who again? You know?
Exactly.
So I'm going to take advantage of my resources. And I'm going to stay in school, and I'm going to definitely push and rebuild my transcript and rebuild all the things that I may have missed out on educationally and just tap in for sure.
As you should. Good job.
That, like what you was just saying, like that hit me hard. Like when I had left school, like I didn't realize, like, all right, ain't nobody gonna really care like they was when I was in school. Cause all right, you in the real world, you gotta work now. It ain't no, you have to provide for yourself. You don't have the backing of, I have student loans, I can stay. I mean, not student loans, but like, you know, financial aid. Yeah. I don't have
refund checks. You know, you got some background.
Yeah, exactly.
Cushion.
Right.
I was on my own, and that was
work.
I had to work, and that was probably the hardest transition. It's still a hard transition, but I'm able to like navigate through that. And I made I think good choices to where I'm at now. So I'm good. I want more, but I'm good now. I'm not struggling. But last year, when I first,
the same time last year, just getting started.
Yeah.
That's that growth we love to see.
Yeah, right.
Proud of you, man. That's what's up.
I appreciate that. And so where can the viewers find you at home?
So you guys can find me at official McKenzie _ on Instagram. Same thing for Twitter, you know, and on Facebook, McKenzie Estep, McKenzie. And yeah, I think I'm starting. I didn't mean to mention, but I am starting a hair line, product hair line for curls. It's called Official Chopper Curl on Instagram as well. You know, the website will be dropping soon. The products will be released this year. That's probably one of the next big steps.
Okay.
Is getting a business up and running, because I don't have anything. But you know how you just sometimes can feel that there's something bigger for you in life. You know what I'm saying? And you just be in the shower watching. You just like, do I really want to stay where I'm at, or do I really want to stay in this selective financial range, or do I see myself being bigger and better, you know? Absolutely. So I had realized last December that one of the goals I had for myself this year was to start a business, and I wanted to figure out what was the best thing I could really tell a story through. Was through, you know, my crown, you know, being a queen, your crown, your curls, all of it together comes together, you know. Coming from, one of the things I didn't share was I grew up in an all-white household. So like being a black girl growing up in an all-black household, all-white household, no one knew how to take care of my hair. So I had to really learn, you know, what was the best methods. I'm on YouTube University. We're gonna call it university because it teaches you
absolutely
anything.
I learned anything. So yeah, so YouTube definitely taught me a lot that I needed to know. So transferring those same skills into creating something that's personal enough to help other people.
Yeah.
Definitely gonna do that. So you'll be hearing more about that soon, and hopefully I get to come back in and tap in with you guys.
Oh, definitely.
For sure.
Yeah,
and that'll be good.
Yeah.
For sure.
I definitely, whenever you drop, I definitely gonna get some.
Yeah, for sure. Look, I'm definitely gonna have something for everything. I mean, I want to make sure it's cultivated to each person and it's personified, like for your hair texture.
Right. Sure.
You know, and that at the same time you're learning, you know, what does my hair texture need? What is my hair texture? You know, what is my porosity level? Like all the things that go into it is so important. With taking care of your hair, you know, because that makes you you. That's one of the main things people look at when they see you in person, and I think it's important.
Absolutely. When I had my locks, I definitely needed some natural products. I found some, but it was hard. I mean, I didn't really know. I ain't gonna say I didn't know anybody with locks, but like I didn't
remember.
I don't have like any products to go by, so that's needed. So.
For sure.
Appreciate that. And I'm going to be on the lookout for that.
Okay. I appreciate that, yeah.
And for everybody at home, remember, it's all love, and we're out.
Grateful that you're faithful.